The fluorescent lights in the Southside Chicago police precinct buzz overhead like angry wasps, casting harsh shadows across the worn linoleum floors. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I can taste the metallic tang of copper in my mouth from biting the inside of my cheek during the frantic drive here. The blizzard outside howls relentlessly, whipping snow against the windows like a vengeful spirit. When Sergeant Miller called, his voice was careful, measured, almost too calm for the hour. "Miss Baker, we have your niece and nephew here. They're safe, but we need you to come down." I'd thrown on whatever clothes I could grab, a mismatched sweater and jeans, and driven through the whiteout, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned bone white. Cooper and Piper are here. They're safe. That's all that matters right now. Or so I tell myself to keep the panic at bay. But Miller doesn't lead me to the children. His hand on my elbow is firm, almost forceful, as he guides me past the waiting area where I catch a fleeting glimpse of silver emergency blankets draped over small forms. He steers me into an interrogation room instead, the door closing with a click that echoes like a final judgment. The room is stark, gray walls, a metal table bolted to the floor, and a one-way mirror that stares back like an unblinking eye. Miller drops a plastic evidence bag on the table between us. Inside is a crumpled note, and even through the clouded plastic, I can see my name scrolled across it in Sloane's familiar, looping handwriting. "Miss Baker." Miller's voice has lost all warmth, turning as cold as the storm outside. "Can you explain why a wealthy Lincoln Park architect would send 2 small children to a frozen industrial wasteland in the middle of a blizzard?" The words hit me like a fist to the stomach, knocking the air from my lungs. What? I didn't. My mind races, trying to piece together the nightmare unfolding. "Child abandonment is a felony in Illinois." He interrupts, leaning forward. I can smell the stale coffee on his breath, mixed with the faint scent of cigarette smoke clinging to his uniform. Child trafficking carries even heavier penalties. "You want to start explaining?" My hands shake uncontrollably, and I clasp them together under the table to hide it. "This isn't real. This can't be happening. There's been a mistake," I say, but my voice comes out strangled, barely above a whisper. "I live at 2400 North Clark, Lincoln Park. The children, where were they found?" Miller's eyes don't leave my face, studying me like a puzzle he's determined to solve. 2400 South Clark Street, an abandoned industrial park. The difference hits me like ice water pouring down my spine. North versus south, one letter. 2 completely different worlds. My address is tree-lined streets, boutique coffee shops, and the hum of upscale life in Lincoln Park, where the median home price hovers around $500 and families stroll safely under streetlights. South Clark at that number is warehouses, broken streetlights, and desolate lots. Nowhere a child should ever be. Especially not at night. Especially not in January during a polar vortex that has plunged Chicago into sub-zero temperatures, with wind chills reaching -30 degrees Fahrenheit, as reported by the National Weather Service. I have to stop. Breathe. I told my sister no. I sent her an email. I have proof. Miller crosses his arms, his badge glinting under the lights. People send emails to cover their tracks all the time. "Miss Baker, you'd be surprised how often we see that." 12 hours ago, I was at my drafting table, racing against a deadline that could make or break my career, the city park bid for Millennium Park's expansion. A project drawing inspiration from Chicago's iconic green spaces like Grant Park, where families picnic under the shadow of the bean. 3 years of work compressed into one final presentation due Monday morning. When Sloane called, I was eyebrow deep in elevation drawings, the soft glow of my computer screen illuminating sketches of sustainable playgrounds and community gardens. "Ren, thank God you answered." Her voice had that manic edge I've learned to recognize over the years, the one that signals she's spiraling. "I need you to watch Cooper and Piper tonight. Preston surprised me with a trip to Aspen, and we're leaving in 2 hours." "I can't. I told you last week I have that deadline. This is important, Ren. Family is important." The familiar guilt clawed its way up my throat, but I'd swallowed it down, drawing on the boundaries I'd been building through therapy sessions inspired by books like Boundaries by Henry Cloud. Reminders that saying no isn't betrayal. I will not be home tonight. Do not bring them to my apartment. I will not answer the door. I'd hung up and immediately sent an email at 3:30 p.m., just to be clear. Just to have it in writing. I will not be home. Do not bring them. I will not open the door. Now Miller is watching me like I'm a liar. Like I'm the kind of person who would endanger children. The very thought twists my gut. Especially knowing Illinois law defines child endangerment as any act that places a minor in circumstances that threaten their health or welfare, with penalties up to 10 years in prison. The email could have been sent after the fact, he says, or you could have changed your mind and panicked when they didn't show up. Can I see them? My voice cracks, raw with desperation. Please. I need to see that they're okay. Something shifts in Miller's expression. Maybe it's the raw plea in my voice. Or maybe he's just giving me enough rope to hang myself. He stands up. Follow me. I push back my chair and follow him down the hall to a darkened observation room. The air thick with the scent of stale popcorn from a nearby vending machine. Through the one-way glass, I see them. Cooper is wrapped in one of those silver emergency blankets. The kind marathoners wear after races. Crinkling with every shiver. He's shaking so hard I can see it from here. His whole body convulsing with cold or shock or both, hypothermia setting in. As first responders often warn during Chicago's brutal winters, where exposure can kill in under an hour. Piper sits next to him, clutching her stuffed bear, her eyes vacant, empty, like she's somewhere else entirely, dissociated to survive the trauma. My knees buckle. I catch myself on the glass. The cool surface grounding me as fog descends, the one that's been my companion for 28 years. Whispering, fix this. Protect Sloan. Take the blame. You're the responsible one. That's your job. I could do it. I could tell Miller it was all a misunderstanding. That I'd meant to say yes. That the address confusion was an honest mistake, a simple typo in a city divided by socioeconomic lines, where North Side affluence contrasts sharply with South Side struggles. As highlighted in reports from the Chicago Tribune on urban inequality, I could make this go away for everyone. Everyone except Cooper and Piper. The Uber driver, Miller says behind me, was told their father was waiting for them. She dropped them at the curb and drove away. I close my eyes, the image searing into my mind. You should thank God for Mr. Henderson, the night security guard at the industrial park. If he hadn't heard them banging on his booth, screaming for help. Miller pauses, letting the silence fill in what he's not saying. You'd be identifying bodies at the morgue right now. Miss Baker, 2 frozen children. The blood drains from my face so fast I have to grip the window sill to stay upright. This wasn't a mistake. This was calculated. Sloan knew I said no. She read that email, I checked. And the read receipt showed 3:47 p.m. she'd opened it. Absorbed every word. And then she'd done this anyway. Punishment for daring to set a boundary. Punishment for choosing my career over her convenience. She'd sent them to die, abandoning them in a blizzard that claimed 3 lives that night alone. Per local news alerts, I turn to face Miller. My hands are still shaking. But my voice is steady. I didn't call that Uber. I have the email I sent refusing to babysit. I have proof I told her no. I meet his eyes and don't look away. And I'm not covering for her this time. The words feel like stepping off a cliff. 28 years of conditioning, of being the good daughter, the reliable sister, the family fixer, all crumbling away in that dim room. Miller studies my face for a long moment, his skepticism softening into something like belief. Then he motions back toward the hallway. Let's go back to the table. Miss Baker, we'll start from the beginning. Back in the interrogation room. Miller's phone sits on the metal table between us like a grenade, ready to explode. You said you can prove you told her no. Let's see it. My fingers fumble with my phone, pulling up the email thread. The timestamp glares back at me. 3:30 p.m. read receipt. 3:47 p.m. I slide the phone across to Miller, watching his eyes scan the words I'd typed 12 hours ago, back when I'd still believed a clear boundary might be enough. I need to make a call, I say. My voice sounds hollow, echoing in the sterile space. Declan, her husband. He's in Cleveland for a conference. He can verify I never agreed to this. Miller studies me for another long moment. Then nods. FaceTime. I want to see his face when he answers. My hands shake as I dial. The phone rings once, twice. Then Declan's face fills the screen. The quiet hum of a hotel room behind him. He rubs his eyes, looking exhausted. His tie loosened from a long day of meetings. Ren. His voice is rough with sleep. I just got into Cleveland. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. What? Miller leans into the frame. Mr. Montgomery, this is Sergeant Miller, Chicago Police. I need you to verify something for me. Did your wife tell you that her sister agreed to watch your children tonight? Declan's face goes white, actually white. Like someone pulled a plug and drained all the blood. Watch the kids? Ren's working tonight. She told Sloan she couldn't. He stops. I watch understanding crash over him like a wave. His eyes widening in horror. Where are Cooper and Piper? Safe, Miller says. Barely. They were dropped off at an abandoned industrial park on the south side during a blizzard. We found them at 2400 South Clark Street. South Clark. Declan's voice cracks, the sound piercing through the phone. Ren lives on North Clark. How did? Another pause. Longer this time. When he speaks again, his voice is ice, cold and unyielding. I need to access my home security system. Ring camera. Give me 2 minutes. Miller and I sit in silence while Declan works. I can hear him typing, muttering under his breath, the fury building in each keystroke, the tension coiling like a spring ready to snap. Then my phone buzzes. A video file. Miller opens it on his department laptop. The screen casting a blue glow across the table. The timestamp reads 5 p.m. Our house. The elegant Lincoln Park brownstone Sloan and Declan share. Valued at over $1.2 million according to recent Zillow estimates for similar properties in the area. The front door. Sloan staggers into frame, a wine glass dangling from her left hand. The stem gripped so loosely it's a miracle it doesn't shatter on the stoop. She's swaying, actually swaying like a tree in high wind. Her cashmere sweater rumpled, her eyes glassy under the porch light. Cooper appears, his voice small on the recording, tinny through the speakers. Mommy, where's our coats? She doesn't answer, just pushes him toward the door with her free hand. Her movements sloppy and uncoordinated, classic signs of intoxication, as outlined in Illinois DUI laws, where even a blood alcohol level of 0.08% can lead to charges. Piper comes next, wearing a summer dress, a thin cotton thing with floral patterns. Utterly inadequate for the blizzard raging outside, where temperatures had dipped to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Per Weather Channel reports from that night. Sloan shoves them both outside and the door slams shut with a thud that reverberates through the video. Not once does she look at her phone. Not once does she check the Uber destination. She sends her children into a blizzard in summer clothes and goes back inside for more wine. The glass still clutched like a lifeline. Miller's jaw tightens, the muscles flexing visibly. I'll need that file sent to this email address. Already done, Declan says through the phone. His voice sounds like gravel, scraped raw by rage. I'm getting on the next flight back. Don't let her anywhere near my kids. The call ends with a click, leaving the room in heavy silence. Miller closes his laptop with a deliberate snap that echoes in the small room. You're cleared, Miss Baker. I'll need your formal statement. But you're not being charged. He stands, his chair scraping against the floor. Your sister, however, will be arrested for child endangerment the moment we locate her. The relief should feel bigger, crashing over me like a wave. But instead, it's just a small crack of light in a very dark room, piercing through the fog of exhaustion. 4 hours later, I'm sitting in the precinct's waiting area, the fluorescent lights still buzzing overhead. When they arrive, Preston and Lenore Baker sweep through the doors like they own the building. Their designer luggage still tagged from the airport, likely a private jet turnaround. Given Preston's connections in Chicago's real estate elite, where he heads Baker Developments, a firm responsible for luxury high-rises along the Gold Coast, as profiled in Crane's Chicago Business. They walk right past the room where their grandchildren are wrapped in blankets, still shaking from the ordeal. Walk right past them without a glance. Their priorities as clear as the diamonds on Lenore's fingers. Preston spots me and changes trajectory. His polished loafers clicking on the linoleum. Lenore follows, her heels echoing like a countdown timer. Ren. Preston's voice is clipped, authoritative, the tone he uses in boardrooms to close multi-million-dollar deals. We need to talk privately. I'm not leaving the children. My voice is steadier than I feel, bolstered by the adrenaline still coursing through me. The children are fine. Lenore's hand lands on my arm, her perfectly manicured nails digging in just enough to hurt, leaving faint crescent marks. What we need to discuss is damage control. Do you have any idea what this will do to Preston's company stock if it hits the police blotter? I stare at her, incredulous. Your grandchildren almost froze to death. The words hang in the air, stark against the precinct's hum of activity. Don't be dramatic. Preston pulls out his checkbook, right there in the police station. He pulls out his checkbook like we're at a country club settling a golf bet. His Mont Blanc pen gliding smoothly. He writes with practiced strokes. Then slides the check across the table. $50 made out to me. The memo line is blank. Consider it a gift, Preston says, tapping the paper with a finger adorned by a gold signet ring. An early birthday present. But gifts are for family members who support each other. Ren. Not for those who cause scandals. He lowers his voice, leaning in. Tell the police it was a family miscommunication. You gave Sloan the wrong address by accident. Do that, and the check is yours. No harm done. No harm. My voice comes out strangled, choked with disbelief. Cooper was hypothermic. Piper won't speak. Accidents happen. Lenore leans in close, the smell of her Chanel perfume making my stomach turn. A scent that's haunted family gatherings for years. This is what family does. Ren. We protect each other. You tell them it was a mistake. And this all goes away. Think of Sloan. Think of her reputation. Something inside me breaks, not shatters. Just quietly disconnects like a rope that's been fraying for years, finally giving way under the weight of decades of manipulation. I pull out my phone and open the voice recording app, sliding it back into my pocket. Still recording, the legality confirmed by Illinois' one-party consent law for audio recordings. As long as I'm part of the conversation. So, you want me to lie to the police? I say clearly, enunciating each word. Tell them I gave Sloan the wrong address in exchange for $50. Preston's face flushes, a deep red creeping up his neck. Don't make this sound sordid. We're offering to forgive your student loans, a gift in exchange for perjury. Think about the family, Lenore hisses, her eyes narrowing. Think about everything we've done for you. I pick up the check for a moment. I just look at it. $50. My student debt gone. The average architecture graduate carries over $40 in loans. Per data from the National Center for Education Statistics. The pressure gone. All I have to do is lie. All I have to do is let them win one more time. I tear it in half. The sound is surprisingly loud in the quiet waiting area, ripping through the tension like a thunderclap. Preston's face goes from red to purple, veins bulging at his temples. I'm not covering for her anymore. I say, my voice steady now, empowered. Not for you, not for anyone. You'll regret this. Preston's voice drops low, dangerous, the threat implicit, backed by his influence in Chicago's power circles. You have no idea what you've just done. I know exactly what I've done. The precinct doors open again. Declan walks in, ignoring Preston and Lenore completely. He looks ragged, like he ran all the way from O'Hare. His suit wrinkled from the flight. But he goes straight to the room where the children are, drops to his knees, and pulls them both into his arms, the first parent to prioritize them all night. His embrace fierce and protective. Behind him, a woman in a charcoal suit enters, Elena Russo, the family law attorney I called 2 hours ago while sitting in this waiting area. Watching my parents' true natures reveal themselves. I'd found her through Avvo reviews, where she's rated 10 out of 10 for child custody cases in Cook County. Elena's eyes meet mine. She nods once, a silent affirmation. The war has started, but this time, I'm not fighting alone. In the morning, I'm staring at my phone when the first notification pops up, a Facebook tag. Then another, then 5 more in rapid succession. My stomach drops before I even open them. Sloane's face fills my screen. Makeup streaked artfully down her cheeks. The photo is professionally lit. Like she waited for the golden hour to post her misery, perhaps staged with a ring light. A tactic influencers use for sympathetic posts, as seen in viral TikTok tutorials. The caption makes my hands shake. When your own sister turns against you during the darkest moment of your life. I trusted her with my babies. I don't understand what went wrong. Praying for understanding and forgiveness. The comments are already piling up, dozens. Hundreds. Oh my God. Sloane, I'm so sorry. Family should stick together. This is awful. What kind of sister does this? My phone rings. Aunt Carol. I silence it. It rings again. Uncle Jim. Then Cousin Beth. Then numbers I don't even recognize. I'm sitting on my apartment floor in yesterday's clothes, watching my entire extended family turn against me in real time. When my work phone buzzes. Marcus wants to see me now. The elevator ride to the senior partner's office feels like riding to my execution. The floor's ticking by like a countdown. I've worked at this firm for 6 years. Clawed my way up from intern to associate. Contributing to projects like the revitalization of Navy Pier, which drew over 9 million visitors last year according to tourism stats. The city park bid was supposed to be my breakthrough, proof I could handle major projects. Incorporating eco-friendly designs amid Chicago's push for green urban spaces, as mandated by the city's 2025 Climate Action Plan. Now I'm about to lose everything because my sister is a monster and my parents have money. Marcus's assistant won't meet my eyes as she waves me in. He's standing at his window overlooking the Chicago River, hands clasped behind his back. The water below reflecting the steel gray sky. On his desk, I can see the glow of his laptop screen. Sit down, Ren. I sit, my throat so tight I can barely swallow. Marcus turns around, and I brace for the words. We have to let you go. The firm's reputation, I'm sure you understand. Instead, he rotates his laptop to face me. The email is from Preston Baker. Subject line. Urgent matter regarding employee conduct. I skim it. Each word a fresh knife wound. Child endangerment. Police investigation. Unfit to represent the firm. The contract he's referencing, $2.3 million for a mixed-use development in Evanston, sits there like a threat. Keep Ren Baker employed. Lose the contract. Mr. Baker sent this to me and the other 3 senior partners at 6:42 this morning. Marcus says, I can't breathe. This is it, 6 years gone. My career derailed by family sabotage. I don't like bullies. Ren. My head snaps up. Marcus closes the laptop with a deliberate click. I've known Preston Baker for 15 years. He's a mediocre developer who inherited his father's company and has been coasting ever since. His contracts are never as valuable as he claims. And his threats are usually empty. The $2.3 million is actually $1.8 million. And we both know it, padded figures. Typical in real estate bids. As exposed in recent Forbes articles on industry inflation. Marcus sits down across from me. More importantly, I called Sergeant Miller this morning. He told me what really happened. Showed me the ring footage. The relief hits so hard I have to grip the chair arms. My knuckles whitening again. You're not firing me. Firing you? Marcus actually laughs. But there's no humor in it. Just steely resolve. Ren, you just saved 2 children from freezing to death. Your sister belongs in jail. And your father belongs in the same cell for trying to cover it up. He leans forward, eyes intense. You have the firm's full support. Whatever you need. Take paid leave if you need time to handle the legal battle. Use our attorneys if it helps. But you are not losing your job over this. Something cracks open in my chest, a release of pressure I'd carried for years. For the first time in 3 days, I can take a full breath. I don't know what to say. Say you'll bury them. Marcus's eyes are steel. People like your father think money makes them untouchable. Prove him wrong. When I leave his office 20 minutes later, I'm crying in the elevator. But these aren't tears of despair anymore, they're catharsis. A purging of the toxic loyalty that nearly destroyed me. That evening, I'm at the hotel where Declan has set up temporary residence with Cooper and Piper, an extended stay place in Lincoln Park. Close enough to my apartment that I can walk over. The streets lined with trendy cafes and historic homes. The room smells like pasta sauce. Homemade and comforting. Declan is at the kitchenette stirring a pot of spaghetti, the steam rising in lazy curls, while Cooper sits at the small table, pencil moving carefully across paper. Aunt Wren, Piper crashes into my legs. And I scoop her up. She's warm and solid and alive. Her small body a reminder of how close we came to tragedy. Hey, butterfly, what are you drawing? Cooper's teaching me buildings. She wriggles down and drags me to the table. Cooper's sketch is surprisingly good, clean lines. Proper perspective. It's my apartment building, rendered in careful detail, capturing the Beaux-Arts facade that's a hallmark of Lincoln Park architecture. This is amazing, Coop. He shrugs, but his ears turn pink. You made it look easy when you showed me your drawings. We eat dinner together, real dinner. Not the frozen meals I usually microwave. Declan made garlic bread. There's salad with fresh tomatoes. Piper tells me about a butterfly she saw. Even though it's January, and I'm pretty sure she imagined it, perhaps a coping mechanism. As child psychologists note in trauma recovery studies from the American Psychological Association, Cooper stays quiet but eats 3 helpings. It feels normal, bizarrely. Impossibly normal. A fragile bubble amid the chaos. After dinner, while Declan does dishes, Piper climbs into my lap on the couch. Aunt Wren? Her voice is small, tentative. Are you mad at mommy? Every answer I could give feels like a landmine. Navigating the minefield of a child's loyalty. I choose my words carefully, drawing from advice in parenting books like The Whole Brain Child by Daniel Siegel. I'm sad she made choices that hurt you. Piper nods against my shoulder. She was drinking the special juice, the kind that makes her voice loud. Wine. She means wine. I close my eyes and hold her tighter. The scent of her shampoo grounding me. Cooper appears in the doorway, his sketchpad clutched to his chest. He's been so quiet since the police station, barely speaking above a whisper, a common symptom of PTSD in children. As documented in CDC reports on adverse childhood experiences. I thought we were going to die in the snow. The words are flat, factual, worse than crying would be. Stripping the emotion to bare bones. Declan freezes at the sink, his back rigid. I kept telling Piper we'd be okay. But I didn't believe it. It was so cold, and there was nobody there, just empty buildings and snow. Cooper's knuckles are white around his sketchpad. I couldn't feel my fingers. Piper stopped crying, and I thought. I cross the room and pull him into my arms. He's 9 years old and shouldn't know what it feels like to think he's dying. The terror of abandonment in a city where child welfare cases spike during harsh winters. Per Illinois DCFS statistics. You were so brave. I whisper into his hair. You kept your sister safe. You found help. You were so brave. I don't want to be brave. His voice cracks, finally breaking. I want to be a kid. Later, after both children are asleep in the bedroom, Declan and I sit in the dim kitchenette. He's drinking coffee even though it's nearly midnight, the mug steaming in his hands. I'm drinking tea that's gone cold, the herbal blend doing little to soothe my nerves. I've been blind, he says finally, his voice heavy with regret. She's been drinking for years. Hasn't she? I could lie, protect Sloane one more time. The habit ingrained from childhood. But Cooper's words are still echoing in my head. I thought we were going to die. Yes, since before Piper was born. Declan's jaw tightens, a muscle twitching. You knew. I knew. I covered for her. I made excuses. The confession tastes like ash. Bitter and choking. I thought I was helping. I thought if I just supported her enough, loved her enough, she'd stop. We can't fix people who don't want to be fixed. The silence stretches between us. But it's not uncomfortable, shared grief binding us. I'm filing for sole custody tomorrow, Declan says, his resolve firm. My phone buzzes before I can respond. Elena Russo texting at midnight. Sloane filed an emergency motion for immediate return of the children. Hearing in 10 days. She's claiming you gave the driver the wrong address out of jealousy and that Declan is guilty of parental kidnapping. I show Declan the message. His face goes carefully blank. The way it does when he's furious, a controlled storm. Let her try, he says quietly. My phone buzzes again, this time a text from an unknown number. But I know who it is before I even read it. You started this war. We'll finish it. Preston. I look at Declan. He's staring at the bedroom door where his children are finally sleeping peacefully for the first time in days. Are we ready for this? I ask. We're protecting the children. His voice is steady, final, whatever it takes. The next morning, Alina's office smells like old books and strong coffee. The walls lined with law tomes on family code. We sit in leather chairs that probably cost more than my monthly rent. The kind of luxury that screams high-stakes litigation. She's laying out her battle plan with the precision of a surgeon marking incision points. Her experience evident from her track record in landmark custody cases. Like those covered in the Chicago Bar Association Journal. We're not going for the knockout in the preliminary hearing, she says, sliding a yellow legal pad across the desk. Her handwriting is sharp, angular, like her strategy. We're setting a trap. Declan leans forward. But we have the email. The ring footage. We can end this now. The footage shows negligence. Maybe intoxication. Elena counters, tapping her pen against the pad. But a good lawyer, and Preston will hire the best, will argue it was a momentary lapse in judgment. Not criminal intent. They'll plead for rehab and family therapy. You want that? No, I say instantly, the word sharp. Then we need her to lie. Elena says. If she testifies under oath that you agreed to watch them and we prove she's lying. That destroys her credibility completely. It proves she's manipulative and unfit. That's how we get full custody. Not just temporary. She looks between us. She'll feel confident. She'll double down. And when we prove she lied under oath in the custody trial, Judge Okonkwo will throw the book at her. Declan's jaw tightens. How long do we have to wait? 30 days after the preliminary, court schedules are backed up, with Cook County handling over 10,000 family cases annually. Per judicial reports, Elena closes the legal pad with a snap. Can you both hold your nerve that long? I think about Cooper's shaking hands. Piper's vacant stare through the police station glass. I think about Sloane's wine glass caught on camera. The way she shoved them out the door into a blizzard that paralyzed the city. Closing schools and stranding commuters. Whatever it takes, I say. On the day of the preliminary hearing, the Cook County Family Court is all dark wood paneling and fluorescent lighting, the kind of institutional space designed to make you feel small. With benches worn from countless families' anguish. The gallery benches are hard, unforgiving, pressing into my back as I sit. I chose my outfit carefully this morning, a simple gray sweater. No jewelry. My hair pulled back. I want to look exhausted. Defeated. It's not hard to fake. The dark circles under my eyes reel from sleepless nights. Sloane sweeps in 20 minutes before the hearing. Wearing cream-colored wool and understated pearls. Her makeup perfect. Her expression carefully composed into wounded dignity. A performance honed from years of social climbing in Chicago's elite circles. She doesn't look at me as she takes her seat at the plaintiff's table. Preston and Lenore claim the front row of the gallery like it's a box seat at the opera. Preston's suit probably costs more than my car payment. Lenore's perfume reaches me 3 rows back, something expensive and cloying. Overpowering the room's stale air. When Judge Patricia Okonkwo enters, we all rise. She's a tall black woman with silver-streaked hair and the kind of face that's seen every lie the legal system has to offer. Her no-nonsense reputation built on rulings in high-profile cases. As noted in the Chicago Tribune's judiciary profiles. Her eyes sweep the courtroom with the efficiency of someone who has no patience for games. Be seated. Her voice cuts through the nervous shuffling. Let's proceed. Sloane's attorney is a smooth-talking partner from some downtown firm Preston probably plays golf with at the exclusive Medina Country Club. He calls Sloane to the stand. And she takes the oath with her hand on the Bible. Her voice clear and steady, perjury penalties looming. Up to 5 years under Illinois law. Miss Baker Montgomery, the attorney begins. Can you tell the court what happened on the night of January 14th? Sloane dabs at her eyes with a tissue. Though I notice they're dry, a calculated move. I was supposed to leave for a business trip with my father. I'd arranged for my sister Wren to watch Cooper and Piper. She'd agreed to babysit. My fingernails dig into my palms, drawing pinpricks of blood. How did you arrange this? The attorney prompts. We spoke on the phone that afternoon. She said yes. To send them over. Sloane's voice wavers, perfectly calibrated for sympathy. I gave the Uber driver her address. 2400 North Clark Street. Where Wren lives in Lincoln Park. I don't know how the children ended up on the south side. Perhaps the driver made a mistake. Perhaps there was confusion. Elena sits beside me, writing in her legal pad. She doesn't object, doesn't interrupt, just lets the lies stack up like kindling, waiting for a match to ignite the inferno. Are you certain your sister agreed to watch the children? The attorney asks, his tone leading. Absolutely certain. The tissue comes up again. This time, Sloane actually squeezes out a tear. A glistening drop that catches the light, performance art in a courtroom. No further questions. Your Honor. Judge Okonkwo looks at Elena. Cross-examination. Elena rises slowly. She's wearing a charcoal suit that makes her look like a blade. Sharp and unyielding. Just a few questions. Your Honor. She approaches the witness stand. And I can see Sloane's shoulders relax slightly. This will be quick. Painless, she thinks. Miss Baker Montgomery, you testified that your sister verbally agreed to babysit. Is that correct? Yes. And you gave the driver her Lincoln Park address? Yes. 2400 North Clark. You're certain she agreed? Under oath? You're testifying that Wren Baker told you yes? Something flickers in Sloane's eyes, uncertainty. Maybe. Or the first whisper of suspicion. But she's committed now. She can't back down in front of Preston and Lenore. In front of the judge. Absolutely certain. She says, yes. Elena nods slowly, like she's accepting this answer at face value. No further questions. Your Honor. That's it. No email. No ring footage. No dramatic reveal. Sloane's attorney looks confused. And I can see Preston lean forward, whispering something to Lenore. His brow furrowed. Judge Okonkwo reviews her notes. Her pen tapping rhythmically. This appears to be a family miscommunication that resulted in a dangerous situation. Miss Baker, I'm troubled that you didn't ensure clear arrangements for the children's safety. The words land like stones. Heavy and accusatory. I force myself not to react. Keeping my face neutral as Elena had instructed. Play the long game. However, given the circumstances and the lack of clear evidence, I'm maintaining the status quo. Mr. Montgomery retains temporary custody. Miss Baker Montgomery, you're granted supervised visitation twice weekly. Supervised by a court-appointed social worker. The gavel comes down with a crack. Next case. The courtroom empties into the marble hallway. And Sloane is immediately surrounded by Preston and Lenore. Their smiles are triumphant. Vicious. Victory laps in designer shoes. Preston catches my eye as I pass. He steps deliberately into my path, blocking the flow of people. You should have taken the check. Wren. His voice is low, meant only for me, laced with the arrogance of someone who's evaded accountability his whole life. Much like the scandals his company has weathered, including a 2019 lawsuit over substandard building materials reported in the Chicago Sun-Times. Lenore's hand touches my arm, her grip tight enough to bruise, her rings cold against my skin. This isn't over, dear, but you've already lost. Sloane is performing for a small cluster of reporters who somehow got wind of the hearing, likely tipped off by Preston's PR team. I just want my babies back, she says, voice breaking artfully. A mother's love never gives up. The cameras eat it up. Flashes popping like fireworks. I keep walking toward the parking garage. My footsteps echoing in the stairwell. The concrete chill seeping through my shoes. Declan and Elena follow silently. We don't speak until we're inside Elena's car. Doors closed. Engine running. The heater blasting against the January cold. Elena closes her leather notebook with a sharp snap. She's on the record now. She says, her tone satisfied. Every lie is documented. Time-stamped. Under oath. I stare at the concrete pillar in front of us. The graffiti tags blurring in my vision. But we lost today. We let her think she won. Elena's smile is cold, predatory, like a chess master sacrificing a pawn. Now we own her. Declan's hands grip the steering wheel. Knuckles white. Understanding dawns across his face. Slow and bright. She just committed perjury. And in 30 days, Elena says. We prove it. The concrete pillar blurs as my eyes fill, not with defeat, but with something sharper, cleaner. Hope. Fierce and unyielding. On the day of the second confrontation, the courtroom feels smaller this time. More suffocating. Maybe it's the press packed into the gallery. Their cameras clicking like hungry insects. Drawn by the whispers of scandal in Chicago's social elite. Maybe it's the way Preston sits front and center. His charcoal suit pressed sharp enough to draw blood. That same smug smile playing at his lips. Confident in his influence. Sloane sweeps in wearing ivory, of course. Ivory. The color of innocence. Her hair styled in soft waves that frame her face. Clutching tissues in one hand like props in a play she's rehearsed too many times. Perhaps with coaching from image consultants who specialize in high-profile trials. The society page photographers eat it up. I can already see the headline. Mother fights for her children. I smooth my plain gray sweater and try not to feel small. Declan's hand finds mine under the table just for a second, his palm steady. Warm. A silent anchor. Elena sits beside us. Her slim folder closed on the table in front of her. She looks almost bored, flipping through her phone while we wait for Judge Okonkwo to enter. But I know it's an act, strategic nonchalance. All rise. The courtroom rustles to its feet. Judge Okonkwo's face is carved stone as she takes her seat. Her robe settling like a mantle of authority. And I remember the way she'd looked at me during the preliminary hearing. Like I was careless, irresponsible. A woman who couldn't even communicate properly with her own sister. Today, that's going to change. Miss Russo, the judge says. You may call your first witness. Elena stands. And there's something predatory in the way she moves. Graceful and lethal. Your Honor, I'd like to recall Sloane Baker Montgomery to the stand. Sloane's attorney objects. Of course. Pro forma. But the judge waves him off with a flick of her hand. Sloane walks to the witness stand with her chin high. Confident. She thinks this is just cleanup. A formality before her inevitable victory. The bailiff reminds her she's still under oath from her earlier testimony. Mrs. Montgomery. Elena begins. Her voice deceptively gentle, lulling. During the preliminary hearing last month, you testified under oath about the events of January 14th. Is that correct? Yes. Sloane's voice is steady, composed. And you stated that your sister, Wren Baker, verbally agreed to babysit your children that evening. Correct? That's right. Sloane glances at the jury. Playing the wounded victim, eyes wide. Vulnerable. She said yes. And then she just wasn't there. And you gave the Uber driver her address. 2400 North Clark Street. Of course I did. Sloane's confidence grows, blooming. I would never send my children to the wrong place. I'm their mother. The courtroom murmurs its approval, soft whispers of sympathy. Preston nods, satisfied, his posture relaxing. Elena turns to the screen mounted beside the judge's bench. Your Honor, I'd like to enter Exhibit A into evidence. The projector hums to life, casting a glow across the room. An email fills the screen. And I watch Sloane's face drain of color as she reads her own name in the recipient line. From Wren Baker to Sloane Montgomery. Sent January 14th, 3:30 p.m. Subject. Tonight. I will not be home. Do not bring them. I will not open the door. Read receipt. Opened January 14th. 3:47 p.m. The timestamp glows like an accusation. 6 hours before she sent those children into the blizzard. A deliberate act amid a storm that prompted citywide emergency declarations. As archived in FEMA reports. The courtroom erupts in whispers. Someone in the press section gasps audibly. Mrs. Montgomery. Elena's voice cuts through the noise. Precise. You opened this email at 3:47 p.m. You read it. And yet you testified under oath that your sister agreed to babysit. Which statement is true? Sloane's mouth opens, closes, like a fish gasping on dry land. Her lawyer is on his feet, objecting furiously, but Judge Okonkwo silences him with a look that could freeze fire. her gaze locked on Sloane. Answer the question. Mrs. Montgomery. I forgot about the email. You forgot an email you opened 6 hours before the incident. Elena doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't need to. The evidence speaks volumes. An email that explicitly stated, in capital letters, that Miss Baker would not be home. The tissues in Sloane's hand are shredded now. Little white flakes falling to the floor like snow. Let's move on. Elena says calmly, Your Honor, I'd like to play Exhibit B. The screen shifts to video footage. I recognize the angle immediately, the ring camera from Sloane and Declan's front door. The timestamp reads 5 p.m. The Sloane on screen is nothing like the Sloane on the witness stand, her hair messy. Her cashmere sweater askew. She's holding a wine glass in one hand. And when she moves, she sways, not dramatically. Just enough to notice. Blood alcohol likely elevated, as breathalyzer standards from the Illinois Secretary of State would flag. Cooper appears at her side. Mommy, where's our coats? Sloane ignores him. She opens the door, the blizzard visible even through the camera. Snow driving sideways, and ushers both children outside. Piper in a thin cotton dress amid a blizzard. The gallery reacts with audible horror. I hear someone say, Oh my God. Sloane never checks her phone. Never confirms the address with the Uber driver idling at the curb. She just closes the door. Wine glass still in hand. And the last image before the footage ends is Cooper's small face turning back toward the house. Confused and frightened, a heartbreaking freeze frame. Judge Okonkwo's expression has gone from stone to thunder. Brows furrowed. Mrs. Montgomery, Elena says, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. Were you intoxicated when you sent your children out into a blizzard warning without proper winter clothing? I had one glass. One glass? The footage shows you holding wine at 5 p.m., hours before your scheduled flight. How many glasses had you consumed by that point? Sloane's lawyer tries to object again. The judge overrules him without looking away from Sloane. Her patience evaporated. I don't remember exactly. You don't remember? Elena nods slowly, letting the words hang. Just like you didn't remember the email. My hands are clenched so tight my nails cut into my palms. Drawing blood. Declan's breathing has gone shallow beside me. His fury palpable. Your Honor, Elena continues, unflinching. I have one final piece of evidence. Exhibit C. She presses play on the audio file. And Preston's voice fills the courtroom, crystal clear. Unmistakable. Consider it a gift. An early birthday present. My mother's voice follows. Saccharine and poisonous. Tell them you gave her the wrong address. These things happen. Preston again. Do that. And the check is yours. The recording continues for 30 seconds. 30 seconds of my parents trying to buy my silence. To make me complicit in endangering their own grandchildren. A bribery attempt that violates Illinois corruption statutes. Carrying felony charges. Preston is on his feet. His face purple with rage. That recording is illegal. She didn't have permission. Your conversation took place in a police station waiting area. Mr. Baker, Judge Okonkwo says, and her voice could shatter glass. There is no reasonable expectation of privacy in a public municipal building. The recording is admissible. Sit down. He sits, deflated. The judge turns to Sloane, and I've never seen anyone look so small on a witness stand, shrunken. Exposed. Mrs. Montgomery, you have committed perjury in my courtroom. You have demonstrated a pattern of reckless endangerment of your own children. You have shown a willingness to lie under oath to obtain custody of children you nearly killed through negligence. She pauses, and the silence is deafening. Thick with anticipation. Bailiff, detain the witness. Sloane screams, actually screams. A high-pitched wail that echoes off the wood-paneled walls. Raw and desperate. Her lawyer is protesting, but two bailiffs are already moving toward the witness stand. Their steps measured. Your Honor, please, you will be charged with perjury, child endangerment, and reckless conduct. Judge Okonkwo continues, her voice cutting through Sloane's sobs like a knife. You have betrayed every trust placed in you as a mother and as an officer of this court. The bailiffs take Sloane by the arms. Her mascara is running now. Black streaks down her ivory dress. She's crying real tears, the kind that come from genuine fear rather than performance. her facade crumbling. The press is going wild. Cameras flashing, voices shouting questions, a media frenzy that will dominate local news cycles. As similar cases have in outlets like WGN-TV. Preston tries to stand, to say something, but Judge Okonkwo's glare pins him to his seat like a butterfly to cork. As for the custody matter, the judge says, turning to her notes, I am awarding sole legal and physical custody to Declan Montgomery, effective immediately. Sloan Montgomery's parental rights are terminated pending the outcome of her criminal trial. She looks at me, and for the first time, there's something almost kind in her expression, acknowledgement. Wren Baker is designated permanent emergency guardian. Mr. and Mrs. Preston Baker. Your visitation rights are suspended pending psychological evaluation. All court costs and Miss Baker's legal fees are the responsibility of Mrs. Sloan Montgomery. The gavel comes down like a gunshot. Final and resounding. Sloan is led out in handcuffs. Still crying. Her perfect hair coming undone. Strands sticking to her tear-streaked face. Preston and Lenore sit frozen. Their empire of control crumbling around them in real time. Whispers rippling through the gallery. The press swarms them. Microphones thrust forward. Questions overlapping in a cacophony of scandal. Mr. Baker. Any comment on the bribery allegations? Declan pulls Cooper and Piper close. They've been waiting in the hallway with a court advocate. But someone brings them in now. And Piper runs straight to her father's arms, burying her face in his shoulder. I'm crying. I can't help it. But these aren't tears of triumph, they're relief, pure, overwhelming relief that it's finally over. The weight lifting after months of tension. Elena closes her folder with a quiet snap and gives me the smallest nod, a professional salute. Justice served. 3 years pass like water finding its level. Seasons cycling through Chicago's vibrant rhythm. The trees along Lincoln Park turn gold again, the third autumn since that frozen night, and I'm standing in the crowd at Millennium Park. Watching Mayor Reyes cut the ribbon on the Safe Harbor Garden. The design won the city bid, my design. The one I almost sacrificed to answer Sloan's call that January night. Incorporating resilient native plants and interactive water features that promote community healing. Inspired by urban renewal projects like New York's High Line. Reporters cluster around the mayor. Cameras flashing. But I'm watching the children streaming toward the play structures. The centerpiece is a climbing tower with protective netting. Inspired by Cooper's hotel sketches during those first terrible days, not a memorial. A sanctuary, drawing over 500 visitors on opening day alone. Per City Parks Department logs. Marcus claps me on the shoulder. His grin wide. Hell of a thing, Baker. Your name's going on a plaque. I shake my head, throat tight with emotion. The work speaks for itself. That evening, I stand in my kitchen chopping vegetables for Sunday dinner while Cooper sketches elevation drawings at my table. He's 12 now, all gangly limbs and serious concentration. His pencil moving with the same precision I use on blueprints. Perhaps foreshadowing a future in architecture amid Chicago's booming design scene. Aunt Wren, how do you make the perspective lines converge without them looking wobbly? I lean over his shoulder, guiding his ruler placement. Anchor your vanishing point first. Everything else follows. The downstairs door opens, and Piper barrels in, paint splattered across her art class smock. She's 9, no longer the hollow-eyed child from the police station. Her laughter fills the kitchen as she shows me her watercolor of the Chicago skyline. It's for your office, she announces, so you remember us when you're being important. Declan follows, carrying groceries for dinner. We live in a 2-flat now, separate apartments but shared meals. Shared lives, not romance. Something better. Family built on choice rather than blood. A model echoed in modern co-parenting trends from Psychology Today articles. Later, Cooper's middle school graduation ceremony fills the auditorium with proud parents and restless siblings. I sit between Declan and Marcus, watching Cooper take the stage as valedictorian. His suit is slightly too big, bought with room to grow, and his hands shake holding his speech. Real family, he says, voice cracking then steadying, are the people who show up when you're scared. His eyes find mine in the crowd. I'm crying before I can stop myself. And Declan squeezes my hand. The standing ovation thunders through the auditorium. Cooper grins, embarrassed and proud. And I think about the shivering boy in the silver blanket, how far we've traveled from that frozen night. Resilience forged in adversity. My journal entry that night is short. I used to think love meant accepting everything. Now I know love requires boundaries. The next afternoon, Cooper sprawls on my couch. Troubled. My friend Jake. His mom keeps borrowing money from him. Like his birthday money. His summer job savings. Is that normal? I set down my coffee carefully. Recognizing the familiar trap. What does Jake say about it? He feels guilty saying no. She's his mom. The lesson lands like my own reflection. Cycles breaking. You can love someone and still protect yourself. Cooper. Those two things aren't opposites. He considers this. Then nods slowly. The wisdom taking root. I never responded to Preston and Lenore's letters. They arrived monthly at first. Then quarterly. Then stopped. Peace found me in distance. Not reconciliation. Some relationships don't heal, they just end. A truth validated by therapists in books like Necessary Endings by Henry Cloud. The news about Sloan reaches me through Alina's network, remarried to Dr. Brandon Wells. A Connecticut surgeon. A new baby, Emma, a fresh start built on hidden truths. Until the baby fell from a changing table, a minor bump. A precautionary hospital visit. A routine background check. The CPS flag appeared like a ghost. Termination of parental rights. Severe neglect. Illinois 2022. Elena called to tell me. Wells's parents have emergency custody. He's filing for divorce. The past doesn't stay buried. I feel nothing, not satisfaction. Not pity. Just the clean emptiness of a closed chapter. Closure amid the echoes of justice. The evening of Cooper's graduation. The three of us stand on my balcony watching the sun set over Chicago. The skyline glows copper and gold. The same colors as the autumn leaves in the park we built together. Cooper suddenly wraps his arms around me. Tall enough now that his chin reaches my shoulder. Thanks for not taking the money. He whispers. My chest tightens. Thanks for being brave enough to tell the truth. Declan's arm comes around both of us. Solid and sure. We built something better than what broke. The city spreads below us. Millions of lights beginning to flicker on as darkness falls. Somewhere in that vast sprawl are other families making impossible choices. Setting necessary boundaries. Choosing safety over silence. Laughter drifts up from the street below. Piper calls from inside, asking if we want hot chocolate. Cooper pulls away to help her. And I'm left standing with Declan, watching our chosen family move through the warm light of home. This apartment. This life. This truth. Better than blood. Better than lies. The north side wind carries the scent of autumn and possibility. A new beginning etched in the city's enduring spirit.